Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Friday, May 8th. It is our last Friday of this school year. You're going to start out cursive today with some more of those tricky connections like we had before. These tricky connections have to do with the letters B and the letters V, the letter V, which is what you just learned. So B, sometimes you have to connect two letters up high that you wouldn't normally have to do an up high connection with. They normally would start down low. So like blue, an L typically starts out way down low. But since your connection's already up high for the B, you just follow it straight out into your L. So it almost looks like a half L. Same thing with bed, kind of looks like a half E, or it looks a little weird because you didn't start down low. And then there's that R again. That's another one of those funky connections like we had on the last tricky connections page. So watch that very carefully. V has a couple as well. Here's an E where you have to kind of start in the middle instead of down at the bottom. And here's an I where you have to start up high rather than down low. So they're just a little tricky. Watch out for those, but especially the R. That one's kind of crazy. You're actually learning two new letters today in addition to doing those tricky letters. You're learning M and N, but guess what? N is almost the same as M, just with one less hump. M is kind of funky because in print we have only two humps for our M. We make it like this, but in cursive it almost looks like three humps because of our lead line that takes us into our M. So you start out with a little curve that takes you into your M, sorry, that's confusing, and then you go one hump, two humps, and out. So it almost turns out to look like three humps. So here's an example down here. We go up, down, down, and out. So it almost looks like three humps, which is kind of confusing compared to print. Same thing with the N. N looks like this in print, but in cursive, it almost looks like a print M, like maybe a fancy one, right? So we go into our N. This is just our lead line. This isn't really the hump of the N because here's the hump here. So it's really more like two humps. Remember that Sally the Camel song? That's what it reminds me of. So we just go up in our lead in, make our hump, and go out. Good luck with these. I'm sure you'll do great.